I have been every voice.
You are the chosen one!
Anakin! Anakin!
This is where the fun begins.
Inside your head.
Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we're going to be talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi because we have some new set leaks and also some lightsaber training footage. We're also going to be speaking about The Mandalorian Season 3 and more. As always my dear Megalorians, before I dive into the news, please may I ask you to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted each and every time that I post new content. So without much further ado and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. We're going to start with Obi-Wan Kenobi. When the Kenobi cast announcement was made, one actress who caught our eyes was Moses Ingram. Nobody knew who she was going to be portraying, but thanks to new lightsaber training footage that she posted, at least one of our suspicions has come true, that she's going to be a Force user. In the short clip, she wields a blue lightsaber and is looking very agile indeed. This strengthens my personal belief that she might be playing a younger Ahsoka Tano in live-action Clone Wars flashbacks, or alternatively she might be an Inquisitor or another survivor of Order 66 who finds Obi-Wan and becomes a pivotal character in his story arc in the show. Interestingly, it also strengthens supposed plot leaks that were circulating the internet a good while ago. Someone on Reddit who claimed to know someone in production stated that one episode is going to focus on a female Force user who happens to be a gateway to something that Obi-Wan wants in relation to the world between worlds. Now evidently guys, this could all be 100% wrong, but all in all, introducing a new surviving Jedi we may not have seen before would be an epic feat. So now my dear Megalorians, we're going to be staying on the subject of Obi-Wan Kenobi because we have some more set leaks. These ones do reveal a little bit more, but once again it's kind of just crumbs of information. So let's take a look at them. In this first picture, as you can see on the bottom right, we have a Bantha, which is evidently to do with Tatooine and is a symbol of the desert planet. I don't think anyone doubted we weren't going to get Banthas in this series, but here we go, here's one on set. I'm sure at some point we're even going to get Tusken Raiders, but we're just going to have to find out. In this second picture, of course, we see a speeder. It's all somewhat exciting, but it doesn't reveal too much. So now we're going to move on and talk about The Mandalorian Season 3. It's been a while since we've had news for the show, but Dave Filoni has spoken about it. Showrunner Dave Filoni promises that the Force will be strong in The Mandalorian Season 3. Ever since the first Disney Plus Star Wars original series debuted, fans have fallen in love with Pedro Pascal's Mando and his partner in crime, Baby Yoda. Although the cute creature came to be known as Grogu during the show's second season, even Jon Favreau struggles to use the name. Still, as Grogu's history becomes more and more apparent, so do his powers. During their travels across the galaxy, Grogu has discovered his ability to use the Force. Grogu has used the Force several times during the show, most notably to protect either himself or his companion. It's clear that he still has a lot to learn though, and the Mandalorian Season 2 finale certainly teased that Baby Yoda is about to start working on honing in his powers. Jedi legend Luke Skywalker made a surprise appearance in the final minutes of the show, separating Grogu and Mando for the first time since The Mandalorian's first episode. Dave Filoni has now teased that viewers may see a lot of that training in The Mandalorian's third season, but told Good Morning America that he couldn't reveal too much about the upcoming season. This is what he said: "There's a lot of new adventures coming up, I have to be careful. I can't really say anything specific, but I think the Force is going to be strong with this." To be honest guys, there's so much mystery surrounding The Mandalorian Season 3, thanks in part to the surprising return of Luke Skywalker at the end. Many of us thought that Grogu and Mando would never be separated, but pulling them apart may be the best move for the show for the time being. It allows both of them to grow separately before they're reunited in what will likely be a very emotional moment. Grogu's training is likely going to be key to his future. And while a lot of us thought we wouldn't see Grogu or Luke Skywalker in Season 3, what Dave Filoni said on Good Morning America seems to suggest otherwise. If we do get a Force-centric Season 3, they also need to accommodate why the show is titled The Mandalorian. One of the theories I proposed all the way back when Season 2 ended is that Season 3 might have two storylines going on at the same time, Mando with Bo-Katan and the Night Owls, and on the other hand you have Grogu and Luke who are training. But what do you guys make of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So now we're going to be talking about the Bad Batch because once again the Black Series line of action figures have leaked some information, in particular a new villain. His name is Vice Admiral Rampart and he's going to be one of the first officers for the new Empire. Vice Admiral Rampart is going to be a main villain of the show probably further down the the line. Now, speaking of the show, we're going to be talking about Brad Rau, who is the supervising director for both the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch. He recently spoke about the Bad Batch, in particular why he made the clones the bad guys in the series. And this is what he had to say. The regular clones are the face of the forces of opposition. They're the antagonist of the show. We looked at the design, it was an idea that Dave Filoni had. It was so cool to start taking some of the colour out of the pauldrons and the cool individual character markings that we grew to love over the Clone Wars. You see a character like Rex with all of his interesting personal paint job and just the way he looks. With his hair, he has it styled a certain way. There's a big effort to say these aren't just droids. They might be clones, but each one is a different person. Everybody is different. So then at this point, after Order 66, to back that up and start taking out the colour and be careful when we take anybody's helmet off and treat them more like what we would think of as stormtroopers. He then asks, honestly, how do we approach that? And I think that also has to do with the gear that becomes more the same. You've seen it in the trailers where we have the ATTE marching through the streets. That ATTE is essentially the same one we'd see from the Clone Wars, but all of the colour has been drained from it. The life is pulled, the blood has been pulled out of it, and now it's just this sort of boring, insidious Imperial grey. And honestly, it looks shocking when you see all of these clone troopers running around with these Imperial looking tanks. They feel like the bad guys, just one for one. And the way that we pose them, the way that they talk, the way that they sound through the helmet is a little bit different. It's a little bit closer to what a stormtrooper would be. All of these little things. As we saw in the season premiere yesterday, they are already tackling the question of the transition between clone troopers and stormtroopers. And finally guys, we're going to be talking about Zack Snyder, who says he would love to direct a Star Wars movie. Just like most other filmmakers in Hollywood, Zack Snyder says he would love to get a shot at a Star Wars feature. After tussles with Warner Brothers during the development of Justice League, the beloved director isn't sure if he'd be able to get through an entire production with Lucasfilm. This is because of the notes and direction he would be receiving from the studio, rather than having full control himself. Very similar to what Rian Johnson said with The Last Jedi. In his own words, he says where it gets difficult is when you take a director with a personal point of view and ask him to participate in a thing that is not asked for. When it comes to journeyman filmmakers, there's a lot of them and they're good. I just happen to have a specific point of view. The lesson I've learned is that it's much easier for me as a filmmaker to create a world and invite you into it, as opposed to me saying, let me put my cog in your wheel. Like, I would love to make a Star Wars movie, I know lots about it, but I don't think I would survive that. Interestingly enough, he's not the only filmmaker or director to complain about Lucasfilm when it comes to their approach. We know that Colin Trevorrow was fired from episode 9, and he had a lot of scuffles with Lucasfilm. To some extent, the same can be said of Rian Johnson, but when it comes to someone like J.J. Abrams, it was a different story, because Zack Snyder and J.J. Abrams are opposites when it comes to their style of directing. If you've seen the behind the scenes for The Rise of Skywalker or even The Force Awakens, you'll know that J.J. Abrams doesn't really mind getting notes from the studio, but Zack Snyder is the opposite. He has a vision that he wants to make manifest. And you know what? Fair play to him. And so that, my dear Mandalorians, brings us to the end of this news update. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, do all of that good stuff down below, and if you're feeling generous, why not become a patron? The link is in the description and you can help to support the channel and also get exclusive access to content that's not found here on YouTube. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.